This is a self-proclaimed TikTok psychic, and what she's about to do will change her life forever.
Where she investigates and actually seemingly convicts people by using the very reliable method of reading tarot cards.
A University of Idaho professor is suing a so-called internet sleuth for defamation after the TikTok personality posted a series of videos accusing, without any credible evidence,
"This is not a feeling, this is knowledge."
About half of all crimes in the US go unsolved, but there's someone on TikTok who says she can solve them all. She's a psychic who claims she can expose the truth by talking to ghosts and spirits. But there's a problem. A lot of people think she's absolutely insane, but others actually believe she's psychic. And when you hear about all the trouble this so-called psychic has caused for the police, victims, and everyone else, you'll understand how crazy this all is. This is the rise and fall of TikTok's fake psychic. The rise of the psycho psychic. Among the millions of TikTok channels, Ashley Gillard's content stands out, but not in a good way. Ashley rocked the internet when she announced that she could solve real-life crimes by talking to spirits and reading tarot cards. Although this sounds far-fetched, it still gave her a lot of attention. Ashley quickly gained 105,000 followers and 2.6 million likes on TikTok. It's not clear if Ashley's followers actually believed that she had powers or just wanted to see her make a fool of herself, but one thing was clear: Ashley truly believed she was psychic. She was so confident that she wrote "Ashley is God" in her TikTok bio. But talking to spirits wasn't her only superpower. Ashley told her audience that she could also read minds, predict the future, and see visions of the past.
"I have a gift. I have the ability to read into minds, read into past events, and into the future."
With thousands of followers watching on TikTok, Ashley began to use her psychic powers to investigate unsolved cases. It was a part of a segment called Ashley Solves Mysteries. She picked cold cases and high-profile investigations and described in detail what happened in each crime and who did it.
I decided to pull cards on the case of Myrna Salihin. She's an Indonesian woman. She was
Remember, these were unsolved cases, meaning no one was ever found guilty. So when Ashley used her psychic abilities to investigate a case and name a culprit, she was basically accusing people of crimes that they were not guilty of. Despite making these bold claims, Ashley never provided any evidence to back up her accusations. When asked why, Ashley said it was silly to ask her for evidence because her information came from the spirits, which meant they were true.
To be asking me for evidence, that's just ludicrous to me. That's just like asking anybody else in the tip line providing the tips that they requested for evidence of their tip.
As Ashley got more popular, she began publishing books along with her social media content. She created a book series called Solving Mysterious Deaths, where she used her spiritual gifts to solve cold cases. She also released books about manifestation and spirituality. For a while, Ashley had a small community of supporters who believed her every word, but that was all about to change. In 2022, Ashley's spiritual crime solving made headlines when she started making videos about the biggest crime of the year, the University of Idaho tragedy. The crime that caused her downfall.
The worst crimes we see in town involve things like bike theft or cars getting keyed or something like that. We're a nice little artsy town that provides a great quality of life to a lot of people.
The city of Moscow, near the University of Idaho, is a pretty safe place. But on November 13th, 2022, everything changed when it turned into a major crime scene.
There are plenty of questions and very few answers after 4 students at the University of Idaho were found murdered in their off-campus house.
It was already really sad that 4 students passed away, but the case became a national tragedy when everyone found out exactly how it happened. An intruder broke into the house where the 4 students were hanging out, took their lives, and escaped. People looked to the police for answers, but they were quickly disappointed. The cops had no leads and no suspects. Soon, every major news network was covering the story, and millions of people followed the investigation closely. One of these people was Ashley, the TikTok psychic. But while everyone saw a tragedy, Ashley saw an opportunity to gain clout. The victims' families pressured the police to find whoever was responsible for this terrible crime. But it wasn't going to be easy. The cops looked through security footage, stage, checked phone records, and questioned anyone who could be a suspect, but they found nothing. Their only lead was that a white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra was spotted in the neighborhood when the crime happened. The police found around 22,000 vehicles that fit the description of the car and started slowly going through them for clues. But the cops weren't the only ones trying to solve this case. Ashley was too. While they were looking for physical evidence, she was conducting a spiritual investigation, talking to ghosts and spirits. And just 11 days after the crime, Ashley announced that she solved it. She knew who the culprit was, and it was the last person anyone expected. Ashley solved the crime. On November 24th, 2022, Ashley posted another video in her Ashley Solves Mysteries series. However, this was a special episode. Instead of looking into an old case, Ashley was using her psychic abilities to solve a current investigation, University of Idaho case.
This is not a feeling, this is knowledge. I did a reading.
Right from her first video, Ashley didn't hold back. She said that the person behind the demise of the 4 students was a woman named Rebecca Schofield. Rebecca was a professor at the University of Idaho, the same college the victims went to. But why would a college professor commit such a terrible crime? Ashley had an answer. Technically, it wasn't really her answer, it was from the spirits. After accusing Rebecca, Ashley went all out. She filmed video after video breaking down the case from different angles. But what Ashley said in her videos was so shocking, it stirred up a lot of controversy. Ashley claimed that the spirits told her that Professor Rebecca Schofield was behind the crime. Now she needed to explain why and how it happened. This is the story that Ashley claims the spirits told her. First up was the motive. Ashley's tarot card reading showed that Professor Rebecca and Kaylee, one of the victims, were having an affair. It all began when Kaylee went to Professor Rebecca for advice about her career, which made sense since Rebecca was a college professor. As Professor Rebecca gave Kaylee career tips, their relationship evolved from teacher and student to something more intimate.
Rebecca Schofield mentored Kaylee Gonçalves, sorry if I say her name wrong, Kaylee, about her academics and her future. During this time, Rebecca Schofield took a liking to her and insinuated about being LGBTQ.
There was just one rule. The relationship had to stay a secret. Professor Rebecca was married. Furthermore, the college wouldn't approve of a romantic relationship between a teacher and a student. But even with all the risks, the two continued to see each other. Ashley also explained how the affair helped Professor Rebecca discover her romantic identity.
And she knew she was lesbian, but she didn't have the heart to live that life out loud. She said that she was so introspective that she lost her connection to her husband and that she needed to focus on her finding her truth.
However, according to the TikTok psychic, things soon took a turn for the worse. The two began to argue frequently and the relationship became rocky. Kaylee, still a student, felt frustrated because Professor Rebecca tried to control her.
She felt that Rebecca Schofield was emotionally needy and insecure. Kaylee felt like Rebecca Schofield wanted to dominate her so that she could feel less insecure and more comfortable. So they had a power struggle.
Things got so bad between Professor Rebecca and Kaylee that they decided to take a break from their relationship. Eventually, they broke up completely, but the breakup didn't fix the problems between them, it just made things worse. Professor Rebecca loved teaching at the university and she was scared that Kaylee might tell others about the affair. If that happened, Rebecca would lose her job, her reputation, and her marriage. It would completely ruin her life. To protect everything she cared about, Rebecca made a terrible choice. According to Ashley, the professor decided to shut Kaylee up once and for all.
Rebecca feels threatened. She feels that Kaylee is going to tell on her. So she decides to concoct or come up with a plan to have Kaylee killed.
Ashley claimed Professor Rebecca had an affair with her student, Kaylee, and then decided to get rid of her after they broke up. But the key part of the story was how Rebecca actually did it. Rebecca allegedly convinced Kaylee's ex-boyfriend, Jack, to help by offering to pay him.
At this point, she decided to keep her secret safe that Kaylee had to be dead and that Jack DeCour was going to help her do it. So she meets up with Jack DeCour in an inconspicuous place. Jack just wanted the money. So apparently there was something that happened that interfered with his goals and his dreams. He wanted to be able to pursue whatever goals and dreams he had in life, and Rebecca Schofield kind of fed into that.
Together, they hired someone to sneak into the house and target Kaylee, along with anyone she may have told about the affair. This included Kaylee's boyfriend and her housemates. Ashley was accusing a respected professor of planning an assassination, which was insane. Considering how serious her allegations were, some people demanded she provide evidence to back up her claims. But Ashley didn't have a shred of proof. All she had were her tarot card readings and psychic visions, which she presented as fact. However, Ashley insisted she had no reason to lie.
Let's just dispel the rumors. No, I do not know Rebecca Schofield. I'm not connected to her in any kind of way. I'm not emotionally tied to her or any of the victims. I'm not connected to anyone. I have no reason to lie on her.
Ashley said that the evidence against Rebecca would be found on Rebecca's phone and laptop and would support her story completely. After all, the spirits were never in the wrong.
You don't have to believe anything I say. Everything that I'm saying and most of everything that happened to the students that night and before is evidenced in the app that Rebecca Schofield used to communicate with all of her collaborators.
So with all these videos out slandering Professor Rebecca Schofield, what did she herself think about it? To put it simply, she hated it. Professor Rebecca didn't say much in public, but behind the scenes, she was preparing to respond. And Rebecca's response would be so savage, it would start a war between the two women. Professor Rebecca fights back. Professor Rebecca was shocked that a TikTok psychic she'd never heard of was accusing her of a crime she didn't commit. It was like a terrible nightmare. At first, the allegations were just irritating, but that irritation slowly turned to rage as Ashley kept posting videos. Even worse, these videos were going viral, being viewed and liked and commented millions of times. This was no longer a ridiculous conspiracy theory. Ashley's videos began to ruin Rebecca's life. Professor Rebecca was constantly insulted and bullied on social media. People flooded her email with hateful messages. Some even threatened her physically. Rebecca tried everything to stop this madness. She sent several cease and desist letters asking Ashley to take down the videos and stop making them for good. But they were all ignored. Instead of stopping, Ashley doubled down.
I to put this demand letter Rebecca Schofield attorney sent me by tissue so I can wipe my with it.
Ashley's fans didn't just bug Rebecca. They also contacted the families of the victims, trying to convince them that Ashley had solved the case and Rebecca was guilty. Things got so out of hand that it started affecting the actual police investigation. The cops haven't found any suspects yet, but they were being bombarded with calls from Ashley's followers demanding they arrest the college professor.
For weeks, investigators have been combating a lot of misinformation on this case, but they say this claim that this professor is somehow involved in the murder is perhaps the most high profile, as it has been shared online millions of times.
In the midst of all this chaos, Ashley kept on making new videos, bragging that she was the sole reason Professor Rebecca was going to be looked at as a suspect. This left Professor Rebecca with only one option. She was going to sue the TikTok psychic. On December 21st, 2022, Rebecca Schofield sued Ashley Gillard for defamation.
A University of Idaho professor is suing a so-called internet sleuth for defamation after the TikTok personality posted a series of videos accusing, without any credible evidence, that the professor was somehow tied to the November of 4 college students.
The lawsuit explained that Professor Rebecca had no connection to the victims in any way, not even as a teacher. None of them took her classes, and she never met or spoke to them during their time at the university. Most importantly, she never had an affair with Kaylee. Furthermore, Rebecca cooperated with the police and answered all their questions. And even the police publicly stated that Rebecca was not a suspect in the case. And to top it all off, she had the perfect alibi. On the day of the crime, Professor Rebecca was nowhere near the college. She was thousands of miles away in Oregon with her husband and some friends. In her lawsuit, Rebecca demanded an amount of $75,000 to make up for the emotional stress and the damage to her reputation Ashley's videos caused. The case seemed like an easy win for Rebecca. Although the lawsuit only mentioned the first 6 videos Ashley posted, there were many more videos that could be used as evidence. In total, Ashley posted more than 100 TikTok videos accusing Rebecca of the crime. But this legal drama wasn't the only thing happening. Outside the courtroom, the hunt for the real culprit was still going on. And after weeks of searching, the cops were finally about to arrest the man behind the crime. The delusion just gets worse. On December 30th, 2022, 48 days after the horrible crime, the police finally caught a break and made an arrest.
That major break in the investigation into the murders of 4 Idaho college students. A suspect arrested thousands of miles away from the crime scene.
The suspect, 28-year-old Brian Christopher Kohberger, a criminology PhD student at Washington State University, a school less than 8 miles from Idaho College. The police tracked him down after they checked the license plate of a white Hyundai Elantra seen near the neighborhood on the night of the crime. That car belonged to Brian. Once they identified Brian as a suspect, they pulled his phone records. That's when they noticed something strange. Brian turned off his phone between 2:47 a.m. and 4:48 a.m., the exact time when the crime occurred. They also analyzed DNA found at the scene, which matched someone from Brian's family. The police then went to Brian's family's home and dug through the trash, where they found items with DNA that matched the crime scene. With all this evidence, the police had enough to arrest him. At the time of his arrest, Brian was the only suspect in the case. But even with this breakthrough in the case, Ashley was still determined to paint Professor Rebecca as the villain. Even after someone was arrested for the crime and she was slapped with a lawsuit, Ashley refused to back down. In fact, she told her audience she wasn't afraid of the lawsuit. She was excited.
I haven't been served yet, but I'm actually gleaming with excitement. I am going to immediately start planning because I cannot wait to present my ideas in court regarding Rebecca Schofield and her role in the of the 4 University of Idaho students.
Instead of accepting that the case was closed, Ashley vowed to get Professor Rebecca locked up. As the court date drew closer, Ashley continued posting on TikTok, trying to convince more people that Rebecca was guilty. In one clip, she said she knew how the lawsuit would end because she foresaw it in a tarot reading. Apparently, the spirits said Rebecca would regret this lawsuit. Ashley went on long, angry rants, even criticizing the size of Rebecca's legal team.
Also, why does she need 3 lawyers for me? 3 lawyers. Why does she need such a big defense team if she's so innocent? Why does she need all of that for me?
It seemed like Ashley wasn't a big fan of lawyers because instead of hiring lawyers to defend her in court, Ashley didn't respond to the lawsuit at all. She claimed that the lawsuit was invalid because she lived in Texas and Rebecca lived in Idaho. This, however, wasn't true. The suit was legitimate. Since Ashley didn't respond to the lawsuit, the judge was going to let the case default, meaning Professor Rebecca would automatically win. But Ashley wasn't going to let that happen, so she decided to use a different approach, go on the offense instead of defense. Ashley decided to countersue Rebecca for millions of dollars. Ashley tried to flip the narrative, claiming that she was the one being defamed by Rebecca. In a long TikTok video, Ashley explained that instead of asking to have the lawsuit thrown out, she wanted to countersue because she felt like her name was being dragged through the mud.
I was being defamed across the entire freaking United States of America and the world on the news media, and they were spreading misinformation, defamatory information about me. So I wanted to file an answer. I felt that it was an opportunity for me to present my case.
Unlike Rebecca, who only asked for $75,000, the psychic wanted much more. She was suing for millions of dollars. If that doesn't sound crazy enough, here's something else. Ashley didn't hire a lawyer to represent her in the countersuit. She decided to argue the case by herself.
She hasn't actually seemingly hired a lawyer to represent herself in court. No. Ashley is indeed representing herself in court in a multi-million-dollar defamation
In the countersuit, Ashley raised several defenses against Professor Rebecca's claims of defamation. For one, she argued that her TikTok videos weren't made to harm anyone, but to help protect society. Since Ashley truly believed Rebecca was guilty, she felt it was her duty to inform the public to help the investigation and to prevent more people from getting hurt. She also defended herself by saying the lawsuit was violating her rights as an American citizen. She claimed her videos were just her exercising her freedom of speech doing investigative journalism. When the court asked Ashley for actual proof to back up her allegations, Ashley said that her tarot cards and her psychic visions were proof enough. The court immediately rejected this, saying it wasn't real evidence. After that, Ashley tried a different approach. She said that her tarot readings were part of her spiritual beliefs and that it could be considered a form of religion. The First Amendment protects freedom of religion. Ashley argued that being sued for her tarot readings violated her First Amendment rights. But once again, this argument didn't work. York. For months, they went back and forth in court. Due to the countersuit, both women incurred thousands of dollars in extra legal fees. But Professor Rebecca had a lot of public support. Several GoFundMe campaigns were created, raising over $38,000 to help Rebecca pay for her lawyers. Finally, after a long and exhausting legal battle, the madness came to an end. On August 8th, 2023, the court completely threw out Ashley's countersuit. It called her spiritual claims baseless and outrageous.
A TikTok personality's countersuit against a University of Idaho professor will not be moving forward. Today, a federal judge dismissed the lawsuit.
As of this month, September 2024, it said that Ashley Gillard still hasn't let this go. She keeps trying to refile the case without a lawyer, but no surprise, no judge is taking her seriously. Ashley's story shows us how dangerous it can be when someone spreads lies with confidence. As crazy as Ashley's fans are, sometimes we get swept up in a narrative too. But with misinformation flooding the internet, we all need to think critically before believing or sharing, because a lie can travel halfway around the world before the truth has even started. Visual venture. Wait, before you guys go, make sure you guys subscribe and then click this playlist to watch more dark internet documentaries. We hit our goal of 700,000 subscribers and now on to 1 million. Let's go. Love you guys. Peace.